I'm the IELTS examiner Azhar Yashal, checking the IELTS test of Ali Haider Mia. Candidate number is XYH2694. Test is being held at Yashal English House. Center number is PK1270. It is being held on 9th December 2020. What's your good name?
Well, my complete name is Sayyid Ali Haider Mia. So my family member and my friend called me Ali Haider. So you
Can I
can
see
call
your
me.
ID?
Yes, sure. Here it is.
All right. Why are you taking IELTS?
So recently I complete my FSC from University College. So I'm making my plan for further education. So I want to go to abroad for any country. So this is the first requirement for any country for higher education.
Right.
That's why.
Let's talk about sports. Do you like sports?
Well, I like a lot of sports and I love as well.
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is cricket. Just because of like we feel that this is healthy and a lot of physical exercise is
How often do you play cricket?
So to be honest, as I'm a student, so I don't have a plenty of time. So but whenever I get a time, so I refer to play.
You like to watch cricket matches on TV or you prefer to play yourself in the ground?
Well, I'm a sport lover, so I like to both. When I have a time, I watch, and when I want, so I can play.
All right. Let's move on and talk about weather. What's the weather like in your country?
This is interesting question. To talk about my country, so my country is Pakistan is blessed by the four weather of Allah. So
For weathers or for seasons?
four seasons.
Okay.
Four seasons.
And the weather depends on the season.
Yes.
Then what's your favorite season?
My favorite season is winter. So as I belong from northern area of Pakistan, so always the climates there are always warm.
When it's too cold, what you like to do?
When it's too cold, I usually like to stay at home. As I mentioned that before, I am from northern area. So in my areas, people like to burn fire at home. So we usually stay at
Bonfire.
Yes.
They burn bonfire.
Yes.
Right. Moving on towards the topic that is wedding. Have you ever been to a wedding ceremony?
Yes, I have been to countless Pakistani weddings. So I believe wedding is like entertainment.
The wedding you attended last time, whose wedding was this?
Recently, I attended a wedding of my cousin. So actually, he was my close friend, and we grew up with same. But he was now engaged.
What kind of clothes do people wear? The bride and the groom. What kind of clothes do they wear on the wedding ceremonies?
As Pakistan is a culture full country, so mostly people like to wear traditional cloth of Pakistan, which is like a shalwar kameez, and mostly
What
people
are the
also.
traditions of the wedding ceremony? What you people like to do on day 1, day 2, and day 3?
When to be talk about the wedding ceremony, so it's totally, I think, depends upon the preference of each my country. Like if we talk about the KFK, so I basically from KFK, the people of KFK, like on the first day, they just invite their friends and relatives and the neighbor as well. On the second days, all are come there.
Okay, coming towards the computers, do you think computers help society?
Yes, if we talk about this era, so this era is like a totally different upon technology. So computer made our life more easier than the early.
How computers are helpful in the society?
There is a lot of way that computer help in our society. Like a large amount of data can store once on his job. So as we talk about the
How many hours do you use computer a day?
Well, honestly, as I'm a student, so I don't have a computer, but I use mobile, which is the same like the computer. So I use it for 4 to 3 hours
Do
in
you
a
use
day.
internet a lot?
Yes, I use internet a lot because it's my subjects are totally relative to internet.
What do you like to do when you are using Wi-Fi?
So at this time, I just refer to use to watch IELTS videos and a lot of entertaining thing when I get bored.
Do you watch IELTS with Yashal videos as well?
Yes, obviously, sir. I'm students of this academy, so I usually watch this videos.
What can be the disadvantages of using internet?
As far as you know, there's a lot of disadvantages of internet. So one can use if a lot, so a person can get mentally disturbed.
Okay, this is the end of your speaking part 1. Now we are moving towards the speaking part 2. For speaking part 2, I have got a cue card for you. At this part, you will be given 1 minute to prepare the cue card. You can make some notes, and for 2 minutes you have to speak. Your cue card is the place you have recently visited, and that is a historical place. Describe a historical place that you have recently visited. Where is that place? With whom you visited that place? And what are your feelings about that place, and what is your experience, and why did you visit that place? These are the questions, and this is the cue card for you. You can make some points over here. This is a pencil if you want to jot down some points. You have 1 minute to prepare. Okay, your time is over now. You may start speaking.
Well, to talk about the historical place where I visited recently, as Islamabad is the capital of Pakistan, so there's a lot of attraction, like historical attraction. So I visit the more, but the ones which I visit there is the Pakistan Monument. It is on the other side of capital city of Pakistan, Islamabad. It is also on the top of hills. So we visit there with my family. So visit there with my family, as this is the place where there are a lot of things like a museum and Versa. So there's people from all over the world, and especially from Islamabad. They usually visit there because there's a museum as well. So I'm a historical person, so I love history. Because of this, I told to my father to visit there to get some information about the old talented people of Pakistan, which work hard in the freedom of Pakistan. If I mentioned that before, there is a museum. So when we enter the museum, the first thing that I see, he was the founder father of Pakistan, which is Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and his wife is seated on a table like so. There was a lot of other statues also there, which is some related to the old culture of Pakistan, like Indus civilizations and Gurdwara civilization. These are the rules and the specific activities that are also written on the wall. So there was a lot of information that I
Okay,
get
this is
from
the end
here.
of your speaking part 2. Moving towards the speaking part 3, I'll be asking you some questions and you have to answer according to your experience. We'll be talking about the historical place, the place you mentioned. Do you think that that's an interesting place, the Pakistan Monument, the place you visited recently?
Yes, obviously this is a very interesting place for anyone who want to gain some information about the cultures and the old traditionals and especially if someone want to see the real image of our founder, the peoples of Pakistan, like Quaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Allama Iqbal's, and Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. So these are like available here as a statue, so one can really
So
see.
that museum, Pakistan Museum at Pakistan Monument, it is reflecting the culture, it is reflecting the history of Pakistan.
Yes, yes, I think.
Okay. Is there any another part in your hometown that you would like to visit?
Yes, so there's there are more places where I like to visit, like Munnar, which is on the top of hill. So I think this is the best place. From here you can easily view the beautiful view of Islamabad.
What do you say about the historical buildings these days? Like the government and the public, they are not taking care of the historical place. After 5 years, after 10 years, like, do you think there won't be any historical building?
I think for this the government should need to make some strategies for it, for the protection of these historical buildings. So I think this is the best for any people for our future. So they made the people of our country know about these things. They need to protect it.
Okay, if we talk about the different historical places in Pakistan, in country, whatever the provinces, you know, the tourists are going there. What can be the attractions for the tourist? How like the local government attract more tourists for the tourism in the historical places?
So here we are talking about the tourism. So I think everyone's and every governments need to provide a specific and a beautiful attractions, and they need to provide some these type of things which are like used in old season, old era, and they need to keep it there. So for the tourism, so they need to see when the tourism see it. So I think this will be the best.
Do you recommend the Pakistan Museum, as you mentioned about, it's reflecting the culture, it's reflecting the history, it is reflecting our historical leaders who struggled a lot for the Pakistan. Do you think that the students should visit that place for the sake of learning?
Yes, I think so. I will refer all the students to visit there, but the most I want to visit, I want to refer the student who are just relative studies to a history. As they are studying history, so there is a lot of historical attractions. So one can visit and see them as a naked eyes. So this will be a more better than the
What other places in your country, in your hometown, you would recommend to visit? What are the famous landmarks?
There are a lot of landmarks in my hometown. As my hometown is Islamabad, so there is a Faisal Masjid, which is the largest mosque in Asia, and like St. Taurus, which is the beautiful malls of Pakistan, and there is like Munnar and Peer Sahaba. So there is a lot of other attractions. So I will recommend anyone to visit there.
All right. Thank you so much. This is the end of your speaking part 3, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.